Welcome to Wannabe Clutter-Free, formerly Wannabe Minimalist, the podcast for busy families who are tired of the chaos, fed up with being overwhelmed, and ready to enjoy life again. Each week, we talk about how to let go of the clutter so that you can focus on the things that actually matter. And it's not just physical clutter. We talk about the mental and emotional stuff too, because if it's holding you back, it's time to ditch it. I share what I've done in my own life to declutter, organize, and calm the chaos, but you won't just hear it from me. There are amazing guests too. It's practical, doable, and simple for those of us that want to be clutter-free. As we gear up for the holidays, I've got a great gift suggestion for all of the sports fans in our community. Or maybe your partner is the one that loves game day and wants so badly for your kids to enjoy it too. If that's the case, you've got to check out Future Fans. It transforms the way kids learn about sports through storybook-led activity boxes so they learn the game on their own terms and become fans alongside you. I've got to tell you, trying to teach our daughter about football was frustrating to say the least. But thankfully, I found Future Fans. The genius of Future Fans lies in its simplicity. For instance, instead of boring explanations about downs in football, kids play a beanbag toss game. They get 4 tries to make a toss, mimicking the 4 downs in football, and score points just like in a real game. And it all ties back beautifully to football through a captivating storybook that guides the entire experience. Since using Future Fans, Monday Night Football has turned into family time. And I'm not the only one raving about it. Future Fans has a stellar 4.9-star rating and has snagged several awards. Designed for kids under 10 and their sports fan adult, it's only $49.99 at futurefans.com, and you can use code WANNA to save 10% off. Again, go to futurefans.com, use code WANNA, W-A-N-N-A, and start unlocking a lifetime of memories around sports this holiday season. Well, hey there, my friend. Welcome back to the show. My name is Deanna Yates, and you are listening to episode 236 of the Wannabe Clutter-Free podcast. On today's episode, as 2024 comes to a close, we are going to look at 24 lessons, ideas, and tips around minimalism, decluttering, and organizing your home that you can take with you, whether you've been doing this for a long time or you are brand new to this journey. I find that even as I go through my different things, I learn differently and I'm at a different threshold. Even the same lessons take on new meanings no matter where I am on my journey and going through our items in our home. So hopefully you can take something with you. Can't wait to hear what your favorite one is. Number 24, I'm saving the best for last, is my favorite. So make sure you stick around to the end. I also, if you want to jump into the show notes, you can get those at wannabeclutterfree.com/236. Again, wannabeclutterfree.com/236. I also have a new free download for you there, so make sure you're checking it out. All right, let's hop into today's episode. And I want to tell you how I'm going to lay this out. So I've come up with this new framework that I'm using, and I'm really applying it to every aspect of my life, not just the physical stuff in my home. I take a holistic approach, and decluttering and organizing and minimalism really has affected so many different aspects. My mental health, like how I'm dealing with things on a mental level, emotionally, also relationships, financial things. And so there's lots of different ways that we can apply decluttering concepts. So this is why I wanted to put it into a framework, and I call it the Clutter Freedom Framework. It's because the end of clutter-free, the dumb part, stands for, I know not dumb, but D-O-M, stands for decide, oust, and manage. And deciding is like minimalism. It's shifting our mindset. It's answering questions. It's making sure we have our values in line so that we are putting our stake in the ground and saying, this is what I stand for. This is what I am choosing. And it puts us back in the driver's seat. So it starts with deciding. So we're going to start with 8 tips for minimalism. You don't have to be a minimalist. Minimalism is living with less than overwhelm, right? So we want to just scale things back. Clutter-free, okay? And then the second is ousting. So the O stands for oust, and that is our decluttering phase. That is where we're taking the things that we have in our home in our lives, on our calendars, and we are clearing them out. We are letting them go. We are saying goodbye from 2024 so we can move into 2025 with a more clear slate, or at least an idea of where we want to go. Okay. And then the M stands for manage, and that is our organization piece. And those are the 8 tips for organization. They're going to help us move forward so that the stuff we choose to keep with us doesn't become overwhelming, so that we can keep a handle on it, so that it can help us live the life we want. All right, so let's get into these tips. When it comes to minimalism, I want us to be mindful about what we're looking at here. Again, like I said, it's not about the least amount possible. It is surrounding yourself with the things that bring you joy. If you're a KonMari person and you love that idea, whatever sparks joy, fantastic. I kind of like to look at it as just like, do I even like this thing? Do I even want this in my life? So we're going to talk about some questions. I don't want to get into them too much. So number 1, I want us to remember minimalism is not deprivation. Minimalism is keeping what adds value and joy. It's not about lack. It's about abundance of what matters. So if we had, let's say, this is where we're putting that stake in the ground. We are deciding what matters to us. So pre-mom life, right, back in my 20s, my deciding factor about what mattered to me was totally different than it is now. So I want us to know that things change over time, but what is it about right now? Going into 2025, are there any major changes that have happened in your life that you're like, okay, now this is what I'm focusing on. I can let go of those things. I've moved on to a different phase. I'm doing different things now. I'm choosing a different path. So what are those things that you're keeping around you? We're going to start just saying, this is where I am, this is who I am, and this is what I want to be. And that's going to make minimalism not feel like deprivation, because there are endless possibilities. Like the first thing that just popped in my head right now is like a professional chef. I'm not a professional chef. I don't need professional chef stuff in my kitchen, right? I'm a podcaster. If you're not a podcaster, you probably don't have a mic set up in your workspace, right? There are so many things in this world that we don't need because they're not part of who we are or what we want to do. And so those are the things we can let go of. All right, those are the easy things we can let go of. All right, number 2, sentimental items are stories, not things. How many times have we held onto something because we attach the memory to that thing and not the actual memory itself? So this is where we come into a little bit of a hiccup when we collect things, when we keep things around us. Maybe they belonged to somebody that was really special to us and they're no longer in our lives. Those are really hard things to let go of. But one thing that has helped me is knowing that, yes, the memories do not live in those items. Those items help me spark the memories. So maybe instead of keeping 10 of a collection, I can keep 1 or 2 that I really love, that really remind me of those good times and the good memories. The other 8 are kind of just superfluous. They're just extra things. They're adding baggage to it. And so that's a possibility, right? Cull your collections down to the major ones that really support you. Or look at taking photos, writing down those stories, especially if you have older family members. Maybe you're looking at your parents and you're thinking, I don't know the stories behind a lot of the things in their home. Well, maybe this holiday season, if you're hanging out with them, you can start to say like, hey, can you tell me those stories? And then if they don't want to write them down, pull out your phone, press record on your voice memo app, and just start getting those stories down so you have a record of them later on. And then that way they're not taking up all the space, but you're getting the story, you're getting the memories. You can take a picture of those things and then keep them that way. Okay, number 3, digital decluttering is emotional decluttering. This one was interesting for me because the average person spends 4.5 hours a day on their phone. And I'm sure I'm 100% guilty of that. I'm on my phone for Instagram right now. I use my phone a lot for business, so I'm trying to be cognizant of the time that I'm on my phone and using it for business purposes. But when we're out and about, I'm definitely on my phone, probably more than I should be. So let's make sure that we are letting go of some of this stuff. That stuff takes up a lot of mind space. And I have found that when I am distracted by my phone, I get a little snippier if I get interrupted because I feel like I'm in the middle of something or my brain is just trying to do too many things at once. So if we can start to declutter some of the time we're spending on our devices, it's going to help us be more present and be here for the people that actually matter in physical form right in front of us. So let's declutter some apps. Let's declutter and get rid of any of those emails that you don't need to keep. And let's quiet those notifications on our phones so that we can start to declutter our mind a little bit more. Number 4 is a tough one for me. This is buy once, buy right. You might have also heard this one as buy once, cry once. This is something I have really worked on over this last year. I used to be the person that when I went clothes shopping, I would go straight to the back of the store, right to the clearance rack, and try to get a good deal on things. As I have curbed my closet, I wasn't ever a huge spender. I've always been more of a saver. But as I have moved toward a capsule wardrobe, buying less, it's been easier for me to say, okay, I'm going to buy nicer things that will last longer. And I'm going to buy the thing I love instead of the thing that just, is okay and fills the gap and is a little more temporary, because I found that those sales pieces were definitely more temporary versus something that I actually loved and I wanted to cherish and keep in my closet for a long time. One of the essential minimalism tips is quality over quantity, right? We hear that a lot. Buy better. So buy less, but buy better because we want it to last longer. But also remember that cheap clutter adds up. So as we are looking in this season of buying, right? This is coming out at the holiday time. We are going to be inundated with ads for new things. We're going to be, trying to score a deal. We're going to be doing all this kind of stuff because we want our money to go further. I totally get that. But I would recommend that we stay away from places like Temu, which rip off other people's hard work and effort and steal their designs. Shein, stay away from them. They're ripping off other people's designs, and they're producing so much waste and clutter for the planet that it's really not something that I can stand behind. So I would really encourage us to be a little more aware of where we're buying things and then think of the entire life cycle of the thing. If we think as soon as we buy it, it's going to end up in the landfill, right? The more stuff we buy, the more stuff that is produced, it ends up in the landfill. I'm not trying to put this on us as the consumer, but it's very important that we are aware, right? We have a lot of power. And so the less we buy, the less stuff is produced because it's not going to be sold. So it takes a little bit for that cycle to, catch up. But the more we do it, the better it is. It's better on our wallets. Our homes don't need it. It's way better for Mother Earth. And it's okay. We can survive without the cheap plastic crap. I promise. We did it for years and decades and eons and centuries and everything before 1980. So we can do it. Okay. The next one is experience over stuff. I talk about this all the time when I talk about gifts. I did a post about this on Instagram last week where my husband and I went to a concert. We got to sit in the second row of a artist he loves, and it was fabulous. It was down the street. It was so amazing. So amazing on so many levels. And we had a lovely time and it was a wonderful experience. And we have a video, we had, took a couple pictures, and we have the experience ourselves. We still talk about different concerts we went to in our 20s and, 30s and beyond, whatever. We met in our 20s. So even way back then, we still talk about different concerts we've gone to. We don't talk about the sweater he bought me or, anything like that. But we do talk about anytime we went to a show. The other day, we took our daughter to see the Nutcracker Ballet for the first time. And I talked about he got me tickets to see the Romeo and Juliet Ballet in Chicago. So those things, they still come up in conversation even when we're not talking about it. But I've never, I think, ever talked to my daughter about a sweater that my husband bought me in my 20s. So let's just think about that. Plus also, I forgot, my mom even texted me because research shows that experiences bring more long-term happiness than material possessions. And I'm saying that now because she texted me this is proof that your parents do listen to you, that even the Reader's Digest, so if your parents are Reader's Digest people, maybe you can look this up and let them know as well, because the Reader's Digest confirmed my stance on gifting. So it talked about gifting an experience boosts happiness, and studies have shown that spending money on experiences increases happiness more than shelling out for material goods. Okay, it was a 2014 Cornell study. Okay, so it's real. And they're getting it, right? We've talked about this over and over. And so my family knows how I feel about stuff, and just wanted to prove it that it's out there. The studies show that it's true. The next tip is the freedom of, in quotes, no. So being able to say no to things, commitments, and purchases that don't align with your goals is life-changing. I grew up as a people pleaser. I am a recovering people pleaser. It still is super hard for me. I say recovering because it is so true. My knee-jerk reaction is to want to say yes. I hate missing out. I love experiences. I love helping people. I love making people happy. So when I have to say no to something, it is very hard. So please know that I do not say the word no lightly, but it is important. And I have started to learn that there is only so much time in the day. And I need to make sure that I'm taking care of me, that I'm taking care of my family, and those that are like really close in my circle, to make sure that that is functioning, that my home is functioning before I can say yes to everyone else. And there are sacrifices to make. There's only so much time in the day. So any time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. That little shift has really made a big difference for me. And then that's why it's so important to know our values. Because when you know your value, whatever it is you're saying, this is what I want to do, this is who I am, you can say, does this invitation I just got, does this new job offer, does this, new activity that my kid wants to do, is this helpful? Is this going to work? Is it going to fit in the schedule? Is this something we want to devote part of our time to? Because we only have so much time every week, okay? All right. Then we've got that minimalism reduces decision fatigue. Now, did you know that we make 35,000 decisions in a day? That's what the studies show. 35,000 decisions a day. That's the average person. Now, not everybody is a mother. I think moms probably make more, because I got to tell you, I make decisions for what we have for dinner every night. There's 2 other people in my home that do not have to make that decision. I make that decision. So if we're counting on average, my guess is I got an extra decision to be made. There's so many decisions that I make as the quote unquote CEO of our home and mom running the show that the other people in our household are not going to make. And it is what it is. I'm not complaining about that. But I'm just trying to say 35,000 decisions sounds like a lot, but you probably make more than that. And so when we have less stuff, we have fewer decisions to make, which gives us more energy for the things we love. Because everything you have in your home, you have to decide where it's going to live. You have to decide to put it away. You have to decide if it's in good condition, if you have to clean it, if you have to manage it, if you have to maintain it, all of these things. So when you have less stuff, there are less decisions to make. And I don't know about you, but if I can get anywhere less than 35,000, I'm sure that's going to feel fantastic. So let's work on it. And then the last one here, when we're talking about minimalism or this decide section of clutter freedom, is hobbies over hoarding. Let's talk about that. I want us to pursue hobbies. I do not want us to live a life where we are sitting in stark white walls, not doing anything, saying no to things because we want to have the least encumbered life ever. That is not what I'm saying. I want us to pursue hobbies. I want us to try new things. I want us to enjoy and have a full life. However, if you try a hobby and you decide that is not my cup of tea, please allow yourself the freedom and the grace to let it go. I will say an example. We tried making soap in our house. We decided we got all the supplies last year. Spent hundreds of dollars and tried making soap. And it was okay. We made some. It wasn't bad. But it was not an activity or a hobby that I could see us doing personally in our home space on a long-term basis. It was a fun project to try. We'll leave it to the professionals. But we had all this stuff. Like I had half a shelf in our garage was being taken up by soap supplies. I decided I was just going to let it go. I didn't even try to sell it. I packaged it all up. I posted it on our Buy Nothing group, and I was able to grace someone with this lovely supply of everything they needed to start making their own soaps at home. You know what? I know a lot of people like that hobby. Wasn't something that we really had the space or time or energy for in our home, so we let it go. I definitely tried it. I had a good time. It was really fun. But I knew it wasn't something we needed. I did not need it taking up space in my garage. I did not need it taking up mental space. I didn't need the guilt that I felt every time I looked at it, knowing, oh, I tried and failed that thing. So let go of the hoarding, right? Don't hold on to craft supplies or tools or gear, to things that you have tried and you have decided they are not your jam. Let them go. Whew, it feels good. Okay, so that's our minimalism section. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about decluttering. Let's get into ousting, because this is where rubber meets the road and it gets to be super fun. If you're like me, you're probably juggling 100 things, but you still want to learn and grow. And if that sounds true, well, I've got something amazing to share. Masterclass has truly been a game changer for us. Recently, my husband and I dove into the mixology class on Masterclass. We've been shaking up fun new drinks right at home, and it's been a great way to reconnect again. And I'm also untangling the mysteries of beautiful spaces with the interior design class by Shay McGee. Masterclass is the ultimate online learning platform where you can pick up skills from over 200 of the world's top minds. It is the perfect gift for those people that have everything, because it genuinely allows you to learn from the best to become your best. Imagine giving that kind of opportunity to someone you loved. With Masterclass, it doesn't matter if you're using your phone, your tablet, or your smart TV. You can dive into a world of knowledge anywhere, anytime. So this holiday season, why not gift a dose of inspiration? Right now, Masterclass is offering incredible holiday deals, sometimes up to 50% off. So head over to masterclass.com/clutterfree to find the current offer. That's masterclass.com/clutterfree for up to 50% off your gift of learning. Don't just give a gift, give the gift of possibility with Masterclass. All right, so lesson number 9, we're going to hop into decluttering and letting stuff go, and just lessons that I've learned about decluttering. So number 9 is the clutter-stress connection. Now, there was a study done by UCLA that found that women in cluttered homes, now we're going to talk about that in a second. We're going to define cluttered homes, had higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol. So that means that we are suffering. Our health is suffering because of clutter. Okay? Now, clutter is just stuff, but it is stuff that we don't love, use, or need. It is an overabundance of stuff. It is an overabundance of collections, and it is just stuff that we're not actually using. We're just afraid to let it go. But when they say cluttered homes, I want to point out that this just means that the women referred to their home as messy. Okay? Can you hear me here? They referred to their home as messy. It might not have even been that cluttered, but they thought it was cluttered. Okay? So it's whatever you personally believe is cluttered. You might look around your home and be like, other people wouldn't call this cluttered, but I think it's cluttered. Okay? So if you think it's cluttered, it's raising your stress levels. That's all there is to it. So we want to let go of that. We want to get rid of that. So less stuff equals less clutter. Your brain sees every piece of clutter as unfinished work. Everything that is out, just like I talked about that soap in the garage, every time I walk past it, it would trigger like, oh, yep, you didn't do so great at that. Oh, that was another failed experiment. Oh, failed project. Even though I didn't feel bad about it, I was like, big deal. That was fun. We tried it. But because I wasn't a success at it, my brain was like, hey, look at that thing you failed at. Hey, you didn't do it. So that's why we have to let go of the stuff. So we're going to start to declutter things because we don't need them, okay? So just get rid of the things. Like as you're walking around your home and you see something that you're like, no, I'm not going to do that again. Just pop it in a donation box, pop it in your car, and next time you're out, stop by and just drop it in the bin. Okay? You can do it. All right. Number 10, start with the easiest category, not the most sentimental. Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we think we should start with the hardest thing? Let's not do that. And we do this with all sorts of things in our lives. We do this when we want to start a diet. I can't just start to cut back on the chips I eat at night. I've got to lose 5 pounds. I've got to go on the cabbage diet. I mean, what is this all about? I've got to do a fast. I've got to do a detox. We use these really far extreme things. So let's start with easy. Don't make it so hard on ourselves. Go simple. So now I know this was inspired by Marie Kondo's philosophy, right? She wants you to gain momentum where it's easy. So she says to start with clothes. I actually think clothes can be a little emotionally loaded and that can be kind of a hard topic. So I actually think you should just start with wherever is frustrating you on a daily basis. So this isn't going to be your garage, unless of course you can't park in your garage, but start somewhere smaller. Start with maybe your entryway. Start with maybe the shoe pile that piles up by the front door. Start with our coats, right? We're doing the seasonal transition. So let go of old coats. We just donated our daughter's old snow stuff to our neighbor this week because we tried them on. We're getting ready maybe to go skiing this winter. And she's grown too much again. Every year. I don't know why it surprises me. Every year we got to get new stuff, new to us stuff. And so we donated our outgrown stuff to our neighbors. So just start with the stuff that's easy. Start as you are looking around. Maybe you're in your kitchen tonight and you're like, I'm going to do the utensil drawer. Great. Do something simple and small. Next one is the container rule. I also like to call it the favorites rule. So your space, your home will start big, right? So your home is a container. There's only so much stuff that can fit in here. Within your home, there are smaller containers. We call those rooms. Within your room, you have storage furniture. So we might have a bookshelf, we might have a closet, we might have drawers. And then within those, you might have baskets, right? Other things to then recategorize things or keep them in even smaller categories. So every single container has a limit. And so we want to work within those containers to keep our favorites. So as you are putting things back into your utensil drawer, I'm going to keep that example going. So as you're looking into your utensil drawer, just pull it all out. One small space shouldn't take you that long. If you have duplicates, keep your favorite one. Get rid of the duplicate that you don't like, that you keep passing over. And then just put the things back in that utensil drawer, like with however often you use them, right? So that's going to be a more useful one. So what's your favorites? What do you use most often? And then as you get to the place where you're like, okay, this is full enough, everything else that's left out, pop it in a maybe box if you think you're going to use it and you're really scared that you're going to have to run out and buy it again. If we're doing baby steps, a maybe box, a just in case box. Dawn from the Minimal Mom uses that, the time will tell box. Just a way for you to see if it's something that you will actually need in the future. But if a few months have passed by, please just declutter it. Don't hold on to it forever. Okay, then let's get to the 80-20 rule of stuff. So this is also known as Pareto's principle, but it really holds true in pretty much every aspect of our life. So science would say that we only use 20% of our items 80% of the time. Notice that wasn't 100% on either end of the scale. So someone's going to come to me and say, but I use this thing, it's really important. Fine, it's part of your 80% of your items that you use 20% of the time. So you just have to figure out which of those items are the ones that are the most important. And if you could let go of part of those 80% that you use 20% of the time, that's going to help you in your home, right? So you are probably just keeping those 80% of those things just in case you need them, but they're most likely just in your way. So let them go and see if you actually do use them or need them. Box them up, give them a timetable and say, okay, if I don't use these things within 30 days, they're going to go. Now you're going to have a few things like your holiday specific stuff. Keep those in a special place, Bring them out when you need them at the holidays and then put them away so they're not in your everyday living space when you don't need them 11 months out of the year. The next is the power of the one-touch decluttering. So this is a fun decluttering tip that I was able to really kind of hone in. So I would actually count this as more of a slightly more advanced decluttering, because when you're first starting, you probably don't know where your homes for all your things are. That is one of those interesting tidbits that sounds super simple, but as you start to put it into practice, it gets difficult. So if you can zone out your places and say, okay, these are the activities and these are the kinds of things I need in each of these zones. So that might be your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen, the activities. I need cooking in my kitchen. I need relaxation in my bedroom. I need gathering stuff in my living room. Like, these are the main activities. So then you could one touch your item and say, this belongs in my bedroom. This belongs in my living room. This belongs in my kitchen. That's level one, just getting it to the right zone, the right room. The next level would be to actually giving it a home and saying, okay, every time I touch something, I either have to go put it right back where it lives in its home, or this is probably something I don't need because I'm just tripping over it. It just keeps coming out because I don't have enough space to put it back. So if it's something you use, then what else needs to come out? Back to that container method, favorite method, right? If you're using something and you just don't have enough room to put it back, what do you need to remove so that you can put that thing away? Then the next is the why is this here exercise. This one's super fun because it's just a different way to look at your stuff, right? Sometimes we get so stuck in the rut of like, I have to keep this. I have to keep it because you've just always had it. And we as humans love comfort. We love, well-worn paths. Have you ever seen people sit in church and they always sit in the same pew and then you know exactly who's not at church that day because that spot is empty? Same thing. People do it in school classrooms. They do it in work groups. Creatures of habit. So when we look at and take our thing and we say, why is this here? Why is this taking up space in my home? And if you don't have an answer, you don't remember when you bought it, just because we've always had it is not an answer, then it's probably time to let it go. It's just a fun way to relook at our stuff. Why is this here? And then we've got small, consistent wins add up. Okay, so this is number 15. I want us to know that we can do big, mighty things in teeny tiny steps. Best way to eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Not that I'm eating elephants, but they add up. 15 minutes a day for 30 days is 7.5 hours of decluttering. So I hear people tell me all the time they don't have time, but I guarantee you if you're spending an average of 4.5 hours on your phone, you probably have 10 to 15 minutes to declutter. I know that's harsh. I know sometimes tough love is hard to hear, and maybe you've heard that multiple times, but today might be the day that it finally sinks in. So know that small, tiny steps, tiny habits, things that you do consistently are going to add up. Rarely do we have 7.5 hours to do all the decluttering in one fell swoop. Plus, there's no way. You're going to be so tired, you're not going to want to continue for 7.5 hours. But if you do 15 minutes a day, by the end of a month, you'll have done an entire workday worth of decluttering. That's a lot. You can do it. So stay consistent. And then number 16, a clutter-free home helps kids thrive. Studies have shown this. And I would like to point out, if you look in the Toy Hall of Fame, things like the cardboard box, the stick, and a ball, those are all in the Toy Hall of Fame. Okay? I mean, along with lots of other toys that we have created as humans, yes, absolutely. But kids thrive and they do better, and it helps them with their problem solving, and it helps them with their attention span when they are a little bored and when they have to use their imagination. And the fewer toys they have, the more imaginative they are. The longer they play on their own independently, it might only be 15 minutes. But if they have a room filled with toys and they can't get at things and they don't know what to do, their playtime is like 3 minutes. Okay? I know you feel like a bad parent when you start taking toys away. If you are nervous about it, do a toy rotation. Box a ton of them up, put them in the garage, and then swap them out. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be like color-coded and like, okay, I've got so many of this and so many of that. Just start, right? Don't set up barriers. Just start. Start pulling the toys out, see if your kids even notice. And then, depending on how old they are, obviously use your discretion here, but they will thrive with fewer toys and less things to do. It's just like when you go in the grocery store and you look at an aisle and it's filled with stuff and you just sit there and you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm overwhelmed. That's how they feel in their rooms when there's too many toys. Okay. All right. So let's take one more quick break and then we're going to talk about 8 organization tips. Okay, and in this third section now, let's talk about managing. This is a little organization. It's a little bit of habits and routines. So I want us to just think about how we can build organization into a regular thing that we do. Because if you go from, I remember I talked with, I think it was Jessica Littman on my show, and she was talking about how they would go in and they would do a big organization for people. And then they would call back a couple months later and be like, it just didn't stick. And it's because it wasn't a gradual thing. It wasn't a routine and a habit that was established over time. And remember, if we were in this well-worn path and we're going out, it's really hard to create a new path, right? That needs a lot of momentum. So we need to do little things to help us establish those routines. So that's what we're talking about here. All right, number 17 on our list of 24 things is the 5-minute closeout routine. So I love at the end of the night, we also do a power tidy. So I do a couple things. One, as a family, we race around to kind of tidy up quickly. And so that's a nice way to get everybody involved. But this closeout routine is maybe just for you or, you and your partner. Kind of the end of the day, think about if you were closing a shop, if you had a brick and mortar store that you were the manager of or the owner of. At the end of the day, you would turn out the lights, you would close the blinds, you would make sure everything was ready for the morning staff when they came in. Let's think about our homes that way a little bit. Be nice to future you, tomorrow you, and get your home ready tonight so that you can wake up in a better mood, so you can have a better sleep tonight, so that things are actually closed down and tucked away and complete so that it really ends your day on the right note. Number 18 is to do monthly inventory days. So back to kind of this business example, we need to know what we have. We need to know how much we have and what we're managing in the first place. So set a day. I like to try to just do this monthly, quarterly, or as it's happening. So like for grocery shopping, I will do an inventory before I even go to the store. I make my list, I plan out my meals, then I make my list of what I need. I have a main grocery list so that I know the main things that we eat on a regular basis. So I will check to make sure if we're running low on those, they stay on the list. If we already have them, I'll cross them off. And that way I know what I'm getting. I don't go to the store willy-nilly without a plan. I know what inventory we have and I know what gaps we have, so I know what I need to fill. And so I will clean out the refrigerator. I will get all that out. And that happens because I'm going to the store. So we don't have something like that though. Let's have these planned days. So maybe it's monthly, maybe it's quarterly, depending on your time schedule. But set some time to intentionally look at what you have and assess what you actually use. It is surprising sometimes that, again, we just keep things because we've always had them. We might not actually even use them. So just be cognizant, set this on the calendar, use your calendar as your parent. I always talk about how I really wish I had somebody to parent me like I parent my daughter. So it'd be great if you could do that for yourself. So use your calendar like that, set the reminder, and then when the reminder is there, please follow through. You could see it coming up on the calendar. If you need to rearrange it, that's fine because life comes up. We're not going to say no to something that's fun if it fits with your vision for your life, but just make sure you're doing this on a regular basis. All right, number 19, if you don't know you have it, you don't need it. So if on your decluttering and organization journey on a regular basis, you're finding things and you're like, I didn't even know I had that. That is a surprise. Or wow, look at this thing I'd rediscovered years later. Go ahead and pop that in your declutter box. I want you to have a central declutter location, something that's just kind of a routine. As you find these things, you think, you know what? Didn't even know I have it. Don't even need it. And declutter it away. It'll start to clear out that space. If you don't get a chance to do the container method where you're putting your favorite things in first, this is just another way for you to start to make more space makes things a little bit easier. Make this a regular occurrence and tell yourself, if I haven't used it, if I didn't even know I had it, I absolutely don't need it because I wouldn't have even known to look for it. Number 20, teach your kids the joy of letting go. So one of my goals and roles as a parent is to be a model and to help our daughter with things in life. So I want to make sure that I'm helping her do the things she wants to do, be the person that we and she want her to grow into. And so one of those things is letting things go, being generous with her things, not hoarding, not being greedy, not holding on, sharing and giving. And so let your kids pick items to bless another family, to bless other children. Get them on board and do it on a regular basis. Don't wait. I know now is a big time. We're doing this, definitely the holidays, but try to do it throughout the year as well and model that behavior for them so that you can teach them the joy of letting go and gifting to others. Number 21 is to shop your home first. This one, game changer. We moved into a new home. It's been a few years now, but I'm still setting things up in different ways. I'm still moving things around from room to room. So whenever I do that, I always want to shop my home first before I go out and buy anything else. I move things around and I will try things out temporarily. So that's another way to look at this, right? Maybe I will end up going to buy something. Maybe I will go out and actually replace something or get something new. But I love trying a temporary solution first. And then if I love it, buying the thing that I actually want and need and use and love, just is a slight change from just the knee-jerk reaction of, I need this, go buy this. Oh, it doesn't work. Now I've got to get rid of it. That cycle, let's not do that. Let's say, I want this thing. Great. How can I try it out? And then I love this, or I don't, right? Back in that example, I don't love that thing. Okay, how can I change it? How would it work for our family? Then try something else. Oh, I do love that new change. Whatever I did, that's fantastic. Okay, great. Go buy the solution for that now. An example of this. Let's say you're looking for a place to put your keys and you think, I'm going to put a little dish on our front entry and that's going to hold the keys and like anything else, our garage door opener or whatever. So you go and instead of going out to buy an acrylic dish or some sort of dish, you try, you know what, I have this bowl. I'm just going to try this bowl that's from our kitchen. I'm going to try it and see if we love it. You know what? I don't love that solution. Now you just saved yourself $20 that you would have spent at the store. You don't have anything to put in the landfill. You have nothing to declutter. There was no new stuff brought into your home. You decided this bowl doesn't work, goes back in the kitchen. You think, I really want a hook to put my keys on. So you get a hook, you put it up there, you love it. Great, that works. So now you've found a different solution and you didn't have to buy anything to try it. So give that one a shot. Number 22, create a donation station. I alluded to this earlier, but I do think it's really important that you have at least one. I have a few. So I have one in our closet. So that's easy as we try on clothes and all of a sudden you find, oh gosh, this has a hole in it. I will pop it in a box that's just like, deal with this later. Depends on if it's a t-shirt with a hole in it or if it's a pair of like grubby socks or underwear. We're just throwing those away. And so, you want to make sure that you make this easy for yourself because if it's not easy, what happens is that thing with the hole in it or that outfit that doesn't fit you or the thing that you just don't love or you decide it's not the right color for you, whatever reason is that you don't love it, if you don't have an easy way to get it out of your closet that moment or at least out of the things that you would pick from, it's going to live there for another month, 2 months, year, decade, until you decide to actually declutter. We don't need it there, okay? So have a simple donation bin or a discard bin that you can pop stuff into, and then regularly as that gets filled, you're going to then pull it out, go through it, recycle the things that are old and worn, donate the things that are nice, and then it's done for you. It's part of the routine. It's just how it goes when you're getting ready. It's just one less decision to make. We're breaking those down. Now you have 34,999 to make. Okay. And then I love a central one as well, because then the family can see that I'm donating things or decluttering and letting things go. So when they find something that they don't want, they then know that this is where it lives, put it here, and mom will take care of it. We'll let it go. Okay. If you want the pro tip on that one, go ahead and seat it like you're a busker that's like on the street performing and you're trying to get tips. Put one thing in that donation bin. Always keep one thing in there because clutter collects other clutter. So it will be a magnet for things that people don't want. Number 23 is to think 3 layers deep. This one is a game changer for me because I think people just think of all the stuff they have, but there are different layers in our home. So I want you to think first level is surface level. It's the things you see. It's the obvious stuff. Actually just did a reel about cleaning off your surfaces today. And it really is just those things that are out. It's visual. Those are the things that distract you. As you're looking about your home, they're the things that just weigh on you. Like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do that. Oh my gosh, that needs my attention. Right? That is the surface obvious stuff. So we want to try to clear that as much as possible. I understand not everything is going to be hidden away or put away, but at least try to corral it where it needs to go, put it in its zone where it should be, and that will make things easier for you. The second level is our hidden storage. Those are the things that are in our drawers, in our cabinets. They're hidden away so we don't see them, but we can feel them still. So we want to make sure we are decluttering those on a regular basis, organizing them as we get them decluttered, and then just creating this is just a system for us to think in 3 levels. And then the last are going to be our emotional clutter and our mindsets. It really is a cycle. So as you continue to do this stuff, you will move forward. Your desires, reasoning, and thinking about stuff will change. So it's okay to cycle back to that first step of decide and say, does all this still fit with me? Like, do I still like this stake I've put in the ground? Is this still what I'm hoping for, moving towards, striving to be or do? And then, we're going to keep just part of the cycle. So just keep thinking in these 3 layers deep. All right. And then the last one, the one that really made the biggest difference for me this year is the joy to work ratio. I already talked about how things take up time and space, but everything you own costs you time, energy, and work. So does the joy that this item brings you outweigh the effort to clean it, to maintain it, and to store it? Our homes are places where we are meant to live, be active, participate, and enjoy life. And it's our sanctuary. It's where we come and we want to feel peace and calm and a respite from the world outside. So do the things that are in your home help with that? And if not, your home is not a storage unit. It is not meant to be a museum of all the collections that you've ever had or ever dreamt of in your life. There is way more stuff in this world than we will ever be able to own, possess, and manage, maintain, display in our homes. So know that we are having to make that decision anyway. And if it's not worth it, if you would rather do something else with this one precious life that you have than manage that thing, then move that stack to get to the thing at the back of the cabinet, you have permission, the right, everything within you to let that go and only keep the things that you actually deem worthy of your time, your energy, and the effort that it takes to keep them. That one was a big one. So please, if that didn't hit home, rewind a little bit, re-listen to number 24, re-listen to all of them if you want. Share this with a friend. If you want to have someone come on this journey with you, absolutely share it with them. I would love to know which was your favorite, or if you have any other lessons or tips you've learned about decluttering, organizing, or just that mindset piece, right? Really shifting how we're looking at our stuff is huge. So thank you so much for joining me today. This has been really fun. I cannot believe that this year is wrapping up. Next week will be Christmas, which is the holiday we do celebrate. I'm going to be looking at bringing you some fun clips from different episodes that I have been a guest on. I think that'll be a really great way to wrap up this year. And you'll get to hear me in the hot seat a little bit. I know I'm always giving tips to you, but it's always fun to hear what people ask me because sometimes it's surprising. So that'll be next week. Make sure you join me. And then I cannot wait for the new year. I love the new year. I love starting fresh. So January is going to be great. When this comes out, you don't know yet, but I am hosting another summit. I haven't told anyone. It hasn't been on my email list yet. So if you're not on my email list, grab the freebie. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you the freebie I'm doing. The new freebie I'm going to have for you, it's a 50 things to declutter guilt-free checklist. So you can pick that up in the show notes. That'll get you on my email list, which will tell you all about the Chaos to Calm Summit that's coming up in January. Make sure you're on it. It's the second annual. Last year was a blast and the attendees got so much value out of it. It is a free event that you can attend. And so make sure you are on the list to hear about that. All right, with that, I hope you have an amazing week. Please make sure you are just doing little tiny steps to move yourself forward. I know you can do anything you set your mind to, and so go ahead and prove me right. All right, I'll see you next week. I'm Deanna Yates, and you've been listening to Wannabe Clutter-Free. I'll see you next week. Cheers.